Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Spirit of Justice. Owen, our mysterious fourth person, has now shown himself, and he's apparently a 5-year-old personality. Oh, bless, please go easy on him. Pretty sure I don't think he's the criminal at this point.
You're 5 years old? Am I in trouble? Please don't yell at me.
Oh no! So he's Uendo's fourth personality. I hardly think a child like him could have a motive to murder the victim. And even if he had a motive, could he have actually committed the murder? That's a very good point. Owen does appear to be very timid and weak.
Oh.
It seems the defense was hoping this hidden personality would be the real killer. But now that he is standing here before us, it is clear that none of Uendo's personalities can be the killer.
Ah! Where can I even go from here? Shisho.
Well, I mean, you could probably question him.
Owen, do you know something about what happened to your master? Come on, buddy. Won't you tell Auntie Athena what happened? One scary lady.
I don't think that's working.
I'm not scary. Look at Auntie's big smile. Tell me about your master, please. Pretty place with sugar on top? Okay. Shisho was super nice. He always played with me. Just like a real grandpa. I love Shisho.
Oh, I want to give this child a hug.
Athena, do you sense anything behind his words?
I sense his sadness. Sadness so pure it's heartrending, but no discord. Prosecutor Samani is right. Owen isn't the killer.
But then, don't you find it odd?
Find what odd?
Let's review what we've learned so far. Wendo rearranged the Karuta cards to pin the blame on Bucky.
Well, that's because the original message implicated Owen. But Owen is only 5 years old and absolutely adores Master Tornado.
Exactly. The other 3 personalities also have no motive for murder. If Owen isn't the true culprit, then the person who first laid out the cards
Probably wouldn't have been Master Tornado. So then, who did it?
Defense? Did the appearance of Owen help you figure anything out?
Yes, Your Honor. I now know who it was that first laid out the Karuta cards. The Karuta cards. Oh, boy.
But I thought it was the victim, right?
No, Your Honor. I don't believe it was. The one who first arranged the Karuta cards on the table was none other than
the true killer. Uendo's 5th personality, Lord!
I believe the person who laid the cards out is the very person who killed Typhoon Tornado.
How quickly you move on to a new target when your Owen theory proves false. You Pokunin?
I don't know what a Pokunin is, but I know I'm definitely not one. And before you start with the sermons, why don't you hear me out?
Yes, let's hear the defense's reasoning. Please proceed, Miss Sykes. But if you are bluffing, I won't go easy on you.
I understand, Your Honor. Now then, please recall the original crime scene. Who did the Karuta cards name when the scene was discovered?
Let's see. I believe they implicated the defendant, Bucky Wet.
That's right, but we then found out that the message originally read Owen Farth.
Which implicated the young boy, Owen.
Exactly, and the person who rearranged the cards was undoubtedly Uendo.
Wendo may have kept silent, but we can be sure he already knew his master was dead. His tampering with the crime scene using the TV all but proves it.
I confess. I tampered with the crime scene.
The reason Wendo rearranged the Karuta cards and moved the TV was because he saw the Owen 4th message and was convinced Owen had committed the crime.
Right on, Prosecutor Blackwell! It would seem that Owen and the other 3 personalities don't share the same memories.
But really, there is no 4th personality. It's just the 3 of us in here.
Wendo feared that Owen had killed Master Tornado, so he tried to hide Owen from us.
Oh.
But it turns out, Owen is but a 5-year-old child incapable of hurting a fly, let alone his beloved master.
So naturally, the culprit must be somebody else. And this somebody else, the true killer, tried to pin the crime on Owen. I see. That does make sense. This is naught but conjecture, composed of half-truths and fantasies. Who, then, do you maintain murdered the victim? I believe Owen might know something about that. I refuse to allow such impromptu testimony, and from a 5-year-old no less. Such a young child is incapable of producing anything coherent. A witness is still a witness. But your desperation is disgraceful. You should realize when it is time to let it go and...
I saw it. I saw Shisho getting...
Owen! You do know something, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh my! Is this true? If so, we must have Owen testify immediately. Don't you agree, Prosecutor Samahi? Too bad! It's alright, Owen. Go ahead and tell us what you know. Oh, this poor child. I saw it.
Shisho was standing with a knife in his hand. Blood was dripping onto Shisho's face, getting it all red. I couldn't move at all. I was so scared. I passed out.
Oh no! This is eyewitness testimony from the moment of the murder. Owen, can you tell us anything else about what you saw?
I was so scared. So scared.
Owen! His emotions are spiraling out of control. Something must have really frightened him. Is he alright? His emotions are running wild because he's trying to recall something frightening to him. I recommend a therapy session right away. Oh, I see. Yes, please do whatever you can to help the poor boy. Will do, Your Honor. I better find the cause of these out-of-control emotions, pronto. Oh, shit. Ooh, such upsetness.
Poor kid. He's absolutely terrified of something.
Whatever it is, it might be the root cause of his out-of-control emotions. I better take another careful look at the images. I believe we're gonna look at the second statement. Blood was dripping onto Shisho's face, getting it all red. Wait, what? Let's probe this.
Yeah. Blood was dripping down onto Shisho's
Down
face.
onto Shisho's face. What? Blood? I don't remember seeing any blood in the crime scene photos. Besides, if the victim was standing upright, how could blood drip down onto his face? As I expected, all we managed to obtain from this child is a tale he dreamt up. Ugh. I guess it's a little weird for blood to drip onto the victim's face if he was standing up. Unless it dripped down from the ceiling or something. What do you think, Simon?
I don't know. Owen's one confused and upset kid right now, so who knows how accurate his memory is. Maybe it's time for that thing instead.
Huh? What thing?
That thing that you and your cohorts do. What do you call it? Rotate your thinking about?
Oh, you mean turn your thinking around?
Yes, whatever. It's the same thing either way.
Blackwell. No, it isn't. Who ever heard of rotating your thinking? I mean, rotate is... Hey, wait a minute.
What?
You know what, Simon? In this case, I think rotate just might work perfectly after all.
Come again?
All I have to do is rotate things by 90 degrees. When he saw his master, Owen must have been... lying on the floor? Lying on the floor. Owen must have been lying on the floor when he witnessed his master's murder. What? That's the conclusion I arrived at when I rotated my thinking by 90 degrees. Which means that all of the visuals in my matrix were off by 90 degrees. And? This means Master Tornado was also lying on the floor, which solves another mystery. And which mystery is that? The mystery of how blood could have been dripping onto the victim's face. It becomes much easier to imagine now that it could happen if he was lying down. Like someone bleeding onto Master Tornado from somewhere up above.
I remember now. Somebody was sitting up on top of Shisho.
Sitting on him? What? Suffocated him to death by sitting on him? So trying to recall his master's bloody killer is what spooked Owen originally. The blood that stained the victim's face red came from the person sitting on top of him. The victim was holding a knife, so he likely nicked his attacker as he was fighting back. This means his assailant was injured on their face somewhere, like the forehead perhaps. Assuming the victim and his attacker were face to face, then yes. I see. So that is what happened. But if I recall correctly, the accused has a fresh bandage on his forehead, does he not? Oh. Shit, he does. Shit. That injury of Mr. Wetz is conclusive evidence that he committed this murder. Why? Rip us! It seems you have dug yourself into a pit you cannot crawl out of. No! Even though I figured out the reason for Owen's out-of-control emotions, all I did was raise further suspicion against my own client. What do I do now?
What's the matter? You aren't thinking of throwing in the towel, are you?
But it looks so bad for Bucky! I mean, he had both motive and opportunity. Plus, he has that injury on his forehead. Your Honor, I sense that the defense is finally ready to let it go and move on. Well, Miss Sykes, I understand that you don't want to give up on your client, but I won't allow you to prolong this trial without a good reason. Well, that lawyer did her best, but all the signs point to the defendant guilty. Maybe it's time she gave up. She tried everything she could. Did we really?
I really don't want to back down, but...
Silence.
Athena, are you having doubts about Bucky's innocence?
I wouldn't say that, it's just...
Do you remember what you said to Bucky earlier this morning?
You mean, you believe me, ma'am?
Of course! No matter what, I'll believe in you to the very end!
Were those just empty words?
Of course not! It's just that all the cards are stacked against us.
Oh, come on, that's no different than what usually happens.
Are you still stuck on that line of thinking?
Whoa! Oh, shit!
Motive, opportunity, and an injury to his forehead. Is that all it takes to make you stop believing in your client?
Hi, Simon! I forgot he did this.
Tell me again, who are you to Bucky?
I'm his Miss Chickadee lawyer.
Then do your duty and believe in him until the very end.
I will. Simon's absolutely right. I'm Bucky's lawyer, and he's depending on me.
Defense team, please! No fighting in my courtroom!
The defense is ready to resume, Your Honor. Prosecutor Blackwell was just giving me a pep talk, that's all. Thank you, Prosecutor.
I didn't do it for your sake.
Did you do it for the noodles?
I did it for the future of wet soba.
You did do it for the noodles.
Yeah, I got it. The defense would like to now continue with Owen's therapy session.
Owen, would you be alright with that?
Okay. So, somebody was sitting up on top of Shisho, bleeding from their head, and smooshing something into Shisho's face. That's funny.
What is it?
I still hear discord in Owen's voice, but I don't sense any inconsistencies between his statements and his emotions. And there don't seem to be any contradictions in his testimony itself either.
Looks like we gotta present evidence.
So that's it, huh?
Did you figure something out?
Your ability to sense emotions is making you focus too much on his feelings, Athena. But there's actually something he's being very vague about in his testimony. If you can clarify what he's feeling uncertain about with some evidence, you should be able to move forward from there.
Okay. That makes sense. I'll give it a try. I'll just update the mood matrix with the new information, and then we'll be ready to go. I just need to present some evidence on what Owen is being vague about, huh?
Did he calm down? He did calm down. Oh, thank goodness.
So now, let's see what Owen is feeling uncertain about. It should manifest as something Owen isn't being specific about.
What's the matter? Is this too tough for you?
No, I'm thinking, so stop distracting me. I think I can guess what Owen is uncertain about. I just don't know which piece of evidence will pull the info I need to the surface.
You can't solve this with a rigid thought process. Try needing your mind as well.
Needing my mind? It's not soba dough, you know!
Looks like you learned a thing or two about making soba, at least.
You think? I've only been hearing about it all day today.
Well, even with that tiny bit of knowledge, you ought to be able to find your answer.
That's Simon. He's figured something out again, hasn't he? And what does this soba making process have to do with what Owen is unsure about? Alright, we're looking at the second statement once more, and now presenting at this statement. That one. Let's put a name to the thing Owen's uncertain of, shall we? By identifying the murder weapon that was used to suffocate the victim. Fortunately for us, I spied the murder weapon right here in this crime scene photo. You know, I realized Blackwell was throwing a freaking hint at her. Goodness. Unfortunately for you, I spy nothing of the sort. And the police did not spy anything of the sort during their investigation either. Pray tell, where is this murder weapon you see? You don't see it because it no longer looks the way it did when it was used as a weapon. This is what the killer pressed into Master Tornado's face. The noodles. The mystery person that Owen saw press soba into the victim's face, thereby suffocating him. I grow wary of your tasteless jokes. How could anyone commit murder with soft, delicate soba? It's not soft when it's a dough! Well, I guess it is a soft thing, but it's thick. The noodles would instantly fall apart if they were pressed into someone's face. Didn't we just establish it looks like something else now? Yes, I agree. Well, I disagree. There is a way the soba could have been used to suffocate the victim. What? You will explain your theory at once, Miss Sykes. To kill Master Tornado, the culprit must have smothered him with uncut soba dough. The culprit must have used the soba before it was cut into noodles. In other words, the murder weapon was raw soba dough. What? Rubble. Order in the court. Yes, soba dough could definitely be used to suffocate someone, couldn't it? Are you alright, Prosecutor Samahi? I was just letting the soul of the victim know that the accused will finally face justice, thanks to the foolish lawyer before me. Huh? What are you talking about? Allow me to summarize her statements. As the accused was killing the victim, he was slashed in the face by the victim's knife. The weapon he used to suffocate the victim was the dough in the dressing room. He then disposed of the murder weapon by cutting the soba dough into noodles.
Ugh! Why, you smarmy!
Afterwards, the accused put the victim's face into the bowl of soba noodles and broth to wash off the blood that had dripped onto the victim's face from his own. And there you have it, the true sequence of events behind this foul affair. Now, wait just a minute! I never once said that Mr. Wet was the culprit! Who but the accused knows how to cut dough into noodles, defense? Ugh! That's a very good point, Prosecutor Samahi. I heard that cutting soba dough into uniform noodles requires considerable training. But then, what about the dying message? How do you explain that? The defendant wouldn't have known about Wendo's Owen personality. Perhaps the victim was simply playing with the cards and they hold no other meaning. Yeah, right, that's way too specific. Perhaps he spelled out Owen's name in jest sometime before his No! Fuck that shit. That's true. From Owen's testimony, it's clear that Master Tornado cared for the boy. It appears we've arrived at a compelling conclusion. Taken together, all of these points paint a convincing picture of the defendant's guilt.
Owen, is there anything else you can tell us? It doesn't matter how small of a detail. Anything will do.
Oh, you're scaring me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Owen. Auntie Athena didn't mean to raise her voice. I have to be gentler with him. I can't forget he's only 5 years old. No need to be scared, okay, sweetie? Just tell us anything you can remember.
Well, when I woke up, the person who killed Chisho was standing over me, bleeding from their head.
Owen, you saw the killer's face? Oops, I did again. So, who was it, Owen? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't know who it was.
I'm picking up some noise. That means there's still something to uncover in Owen's testimony.
I don't know what Owen saw, but suffice it to say we are analyzing the dreams of a child. You've wasted enough of our time, Defense. Let it go and move on.
No! There's still discord in Owen's heart that needs to be addressed. Therefore, I can't give in here.
Owen, do you think you can continue your testimony for us?
Okay.
I'll enter the new info and run an update then.
I think I might put this in for the next part. Yeah, we'll save this for the next part. So we're gonna leave this here for now and continue this into the next video then. See you guys then!
Heartrending, but no discord. Prosecutor Samani is right. Owen isn't the killer.
But then, don't you find it odd?
Find what odd?
Let's review what we've learned so far. Wendell rearranged the Karuta cards to pin the blame on Bucky.
Well, that's because the original message implicated Owen. But Owen is only 5 years old and absolutely adores Master Tornado.
Exactly. The other three personalities also.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Spirit of Justice. Owen, our mysterious fourth person, has now shown himself, and he's apparently a 5-year-old personality. Oh, bless, please go easy on him. Pretty sure I don't think he's the criminal at this point.
You're 5 years old?
Am I in trouble? Please don't yell at me. Oh.
Oh, no! So he's Wendell's fourth.
Big smile. Tell me about your master, please. Pretty please with sugar on top?
Okay. Chisho was super nice. He always played with me. Just like a real grandpa. I love Chisho.
Oh, I want to give this child a hug.
Athena, do you sense anything behind his words?
I sense his sadness. Sadness so pure it's...
Or personality. I hardly think a child like him could have a motive to murder the victim. And even if he had a motive, could he have actually committed the murder? That's a very good point. Owen does appear to be very timid and weak.
Oh.
It seems the defense was hoping this hidden personality would be the real killer. But now that he is standing here before us, it is clear that none of Uendo's personalities can be the killer.
Ah! Where can I even go from here?
Chisho.
Well, I mean, you could probably question him.
Owen, do you know something about what happened to your master? Come on, buddy. Won't you tell Auntie Athena what happened?
One scary lady.
I don't think that's working.
I'm not scary. Look at Auntie's